So as I mentioned to you once again, it's important for us to start off the review season with bar techniques. Siyempre, what I am going to impart to you or with you is my own personal experience with how I went through my bar review. So kumbaga, importante kasi sa totoo lang na meron tayong plano na maayos pagdating sa review. Hindi kasi pwede na pag halimbawa kayo, pupunta kayo sa giyera, so to speak, na wala kayong overall plan kung paano kayo mananalo dun sa giyera na yun. Kaya I'm here to impart to you what I did during the time that I took the bar exams in 2006. So basically, that was 17 years ago. Diba? So 17 years ago, what did Attorney Albano do in order to be able to hurdle the bar examination? So please note, I just took the bar exams once. Please note also that when I started my review, much as you may think that I was guided thoroughly by my father, I was not. So for anybody who has had the experience of having parents that are overbearing, the one thing that you could take away from that experience is that they do not have a solution to a problem. Anong ibig kong sabihin? Halimbawa, yung father ko tatanungin ko, parang, ano bang gagawin ko? Pati yung kuya ko, kasi yung kuya ko abogado rin. Paano ba mag-aaral? Parang ganun yung mga tanong ko sa kanila eh. So, hindi maayos yung sagot nila nung panahon na yun na nag-aaral ako ng law. Ultimately, I was able to hurdle the bar examinations because I was very scientific in my approach to studying for the bar examinations. So as I mentioned, I'm going to impart to you how I studied for the bar examinations. But by the way, before I begin, as to how we are going to go about the review, kasi di ba live tayo, we have scheduled sessions every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You will be able to access all of the videos via YouTube after every review session. What we will do is, the reason why we are asking from you a Gmail account is because our IT will send to you an email via Gmail whereby you could view the YouTube videos for yourselves only. What do we mean to say? Siyempre class, alam niyo naman, uso yung sharing, uso yung mga bagay na ganun sa online platforms. Yung ginawa namin is yung YouTube account, yung YouTube videos na isasend namin directly to your email, you cannot share it to anybody else. So try as you may na i-share itong videos na to sa ibang tao, hindi niyo magagawa. Bakit? Kasi it's a feature that YouTube was gave to us, or not just to us, pero it's a feature that YouTube made available through through how our IT researched for it. Why did we use YouTube for our review? Because handling and maintaining our own online platform, sometimes we encountered problems with it. Eh di ba alam naman natin lahat pag YouTube, sobrang dali, di ba? Sino ba dito yung mga ilang oras ang na-devote sa panonood lang ng mga YouTube videos, di ba? So alam natin kung gaano kadaling gamitin kapag YouTube videos. So that is why we are using the platform of YouTube for the review. This is for your ease and convenience in our review. So kaya humihingi kami ng Gmail accounts because it is only through Gmail that you will be able to access yung ating mga review. As to the materials shall also be sent to you via email. So yun nga, materials shall be sent to you via email. That means to say that you should always be on the lookout for your emails because halimbawa, gaya yung materials ni Judge Tambasakan, they were just sent to us 2 days ago or yesterday ata, if I'm not mistaken. So we do not have control as to when our lecturers will send. Kasi alam niyo class, itong mga lecturers, syempre, they have their own problems in their lives. They have their own needs and they have their own things that they, that they will be that by which they will be able to devote to reviews. So kumbaga, we cannot expect them to be at the beck and call. Kumbaga, nobody can be expected to be just at the disposal of anybody. Kaya kumbaga, we prod, we gently remind, we follow up for materials. We receive, fortunately for some instances, and yun na nga, we will send to you immediately as soon as we are able to receive them. Kaya kumbaga, just always be on the lookout or standby for your emails. So yun na nga, that's basically how our platform will go for this year, for this season. You will watch via YouTube, and then you will be able to access the materials via email. So we will send you soft copies. We'll send you a lot of materials via soft copies. And we hope that you will be able to study all of these in due time. So now let's proceed. How we are going to be able to study all of these in due time. Kasi nandito tayo ngayon eh. This will not be the only session for bar techniques na we will hold. This is just the initial session. This is preparatory. So let me just share my whiteboard. So for our bar techniques today, I will impart to you preparing for the bar. Siyempre, yung pag-prepare sa bar exams, meron din yung ating pag-answer, di ba? Pero hindi naman kumbaga hindi lang ang bar exams is about how to answer questions. Meron din tayong preparation na tinatawag. Kasi alam nyo class, nung ako law student pa lang, that was the eternal question in my mind. Anong ibig kong sabihin? When I was in fourth year college, when I knew that I was going to take the bar, when I knew that I was going to take up law, the one question that always bothered my mind was how am I going to study? Di ba kasi lahat naman tayo dito masipag eh. Lahat tayo dito curious sa binabasa natin. Lahat tayo, kaya nandito tayo sa stage na to ng buhay natin na kagaya ninyo na you hope to become lawyers soon is because you are studious people. Ano ibig kong sabihin? You study, di ba? Mahilig kayo magbasa. Kasi sino ba namang law student na hindi mahilig magbasa, di ba? Kaya kumbaga, yun yung tanong ko lagi sa sarili ko. Paano ba magbasa? Ano ang technique na kailangan mong gawin para magbasa? So, yun yung question ko nun. In all honesty, it took me 2 to 3 years during my stint in law school. And even, so syempre akala ko 2 to 3 years, third year, tapos na ako. Hindi. So, nung nag-settle ako ng third year kung paano mag-aral, akala ko yun na. Hindi pa pala. Anong ibig kong sabihin? Ibig sabihin, pagdating ng review, meron pa palang bago. So ano ba kasing problema sa pag-aaral? Kasi sa pag-aaral, di ba, let me share my whiteboard again. Kasi sa pag-aaral, di ba, meron tayong, kumbaga, sa dinami-dami ng thousands of pages of books and pages that we have to read. Ang question is how you are going to put that inside your brain. Kasi di ba, we always encounter this problem. Basa ako ng basa, hindi ko alam kung naiintindihan ko kung yung binabasa ko pumapasok sa utak ko. Di ba natanong na natin sa sarili natin yan nung first year, second year, third year, fourth year, up to fifth year, sixth year, kung even up to review, di ba? Paano ko ipapasok sa utak ko yung binabasa ko? So, during review, where you have to encounter thousands of pages, several books, what is important? What is important for you to do? Alam niyo kung ano yung masasabi ko sa inyo, class, na importante na gawin ninyo? You have to stick to one material. For me, you have to stick to one material. Ano ba yung nagiging problema natin pagdating sa pag-aaral natin sa law? Ngayon, ngayong panahon na to, actually, hindi lang pala ngayong panahon na to, even noong panahon na nag-aaral ako. Ano yung problema natin? There are several authors for one subject matter, di ba? There are several authors for one subject matter. What is the problem aside from what is our problem aside from several authors in one subject matter? We also have resource materials. Ano ibig kong sabihin resource materials? Di ba? Kapag tayo nagbabasa, especially ngayong review, halimbawa, sabihin na lang natin sa ano bang subject na magandang gamitin natin. Let's say remedial law. Ano ba yung mga libro dyan? Let's say nandiyan ang Guerra. Nandiyan ang Albano. From what I know, nandiyan ang Moya. Meron siyempreng ano pa ba yung mga libro? Meron, actually, there are as many authors as there are, kumbaga, yung subjects natin, sobrang dami. What am I saying to you, class? I am an author of a book, di ba? I am continuing the book of my father. What can I tell you? Let me yeah. I will let you in on a little secret. What's that secret? Always remember, class, that as authors, ang dami naming cases na binabasa. Ang dami naming rules na binabasa. Sabihin natin sa reviewer, sa remedial law. Ang dami naming cases, ang dami naming rules na binabasa, especially 2019 rules on evidence, rules on criminal procedure, rules on special proceedings. Aside from that, meron pa tayong cases, especially yung cases, di ba? What can I tell you about? It's a matter of yung mga cases natin, halos pare-pareho yung mga sinasabi niyan, di ba? Siyempre may mga cases na precedent setting, di ba? What I can tell you about cases, yung precedent setting, I will guarantee you na lahat ng reviewers meron yan. No matter who the author is, lahat ng reviewers merong precedent setting cases. So dahil may precedent setting cases, lahat ng libro, lahat ng authors ng libro, ano ang nangyayari? Halimbawa, sabihin natin may 3 cases. Doon sa 3 cases na yun, in one topic, let's say in civil procedure, real party in interest. Kagaya halimbawa, meron akong kakabasa ng lately, sa rules sa environment sa applied. 'Di ba alam naman natin yung mammals, yung resident mammals of Tanyan Strait, 'di ba? Yung case ng resident mammals of Tanyan Strait na real party in interest. Merong bagong lumabas na case 2022 about real party in interest pa din. Ano yung case na 'yan? Merong case involving a local or a indigenous people na nangyari sa kanya, yung DNR, pinipilit siya na hindi DNR pala, yung nakakuha ng harvesting permit, pinipilit na yung na-harvest ni indigenous people sa kanya lang ibebenta doon sa nakakuha ng permit. Ano ang problema natin dito? Yung lahat ng cases na ito, we have to make a choice as authors. We have to make a choice. Ano ba yung libro na isusulat ko or ano ba yung case na isusulat ko sa libro ko? Bakit ganun? Why do we have to make a choice? Because you have to remember, class, I cannot put all of those in my book. Why? Because if I put all of those in my book, I will not produce a book. I will produce an encyclopedia. Di ba? Magiging sobrang haba nung reference material ko. So if I produce an encyclopedia, what will happen? It will never benefit the student. Why? Because the student will not be able to read up to the end of the book. Sobrang haba, di ba? Now what will happen? Let's say in 3 cases, I pick case number 1. Let's say author number 2 picks case number 2, and author number 3 picks case number 3. What is your dilemma as students who are reading? Your dilemma as students now is that you think that just because one author has this case over another author, ano ang nangyari? Ay, mas maganda tong libro na to. That's not necessarily the case. Sabi ko sa inyo, I'm not promoting any particular book or slandering any particular book. What is the problem right now is that students seem to think that they have to read all of the books that are present, or they want to read at least 2 or at least 3 books in order for their readings to be truly comprehensive. What is the problem there? The problem there is that you will lack material time to be able to finish yung inyong readings. Maniwala kayo sa akin, it is impossible for you to be able to finish what you are let's say matapos mo yung 3 libro sa remedial law, let's say matapos mo yung 3 libro sa labor law, ano ang problema nun, class? May 7 subject pa, di ba? May 7 subject pa tayo na babasahin sa course ng review natin. And ano ang problema nun? If ito pa ang subject na babasahin natin, we wasted our time reading 3 books in one subject. Then 100 ka nga sa remedial, 100 ka nga sa labor. Anong problema mo? 50 ka naman 50 ka naman dun sa 7 na natitira, di ba? Kaya this is my request to all of you. I mean, kumbaga, this is a request, di ba? This is a request. You may follow, you may not. But this is my request to you. Just read one book. Just read one reference material. So ano ibig kong sabihin? You can read whatever you want. Nobody has a monopoly of knowledge. Nobody has a monopoly of right or wrong. So kung halimbawa, pinili mo sa labor, let's say pinili mo basahin si Pokis over yung libro ni Kato or libro ni Kaingat, let's say. Stick with Pokis. Huwag ka nang maging curious. Ano kaya sinabi ni Kato? Ano kaya sinabi ni Kaingat? Is there something different? Believe me, walang masyadong pinagkaiba yun. Walang masyadong pinagkaiba yung sinasabi ng dalawa na yun. Sa cases, syempre may isang case na in the opinion of Pokis, in the opinion of Kato, magkapareho. Pero sa kanya, I just have to pick one between the two. So ito na lang ilalagay ko over this one. So ganun ang quandary ng authors. You cannot put everything in the book. Otherwise, you will be able to produce an encyclopedia, di ba? If gano'n ang gagawin mo, ilalagay mo na lang, eh di you'd rather dapat scra na lang ginawa mo, 'di ba? Hindi na textbook. Kasi you're not explaining to students anymore. So yun ang ano natin, yun ang unang masasabi ko sa'yo, stick to one material. Just one material, one author, one reference material. Ano bang ibig ko sabihing reference material? Marami tayong lumalabas notes, 'di ba? Meron tayong meron tayong notes na kung saan-saang schools, 'di ba? Alam naman natin yung mga schools na may mga notes like UP, Ateneus, Beda, UST, et cetera. Ang request ko sa inyo, if you're going to use a note, reference material, just stick to one. Yun ang lagi namin sinasabi, stick to one. Alam niyo ba kung anong offensive sa amin na kapag halimbawa tinuturuan namin yung mga tao, yung mga those who care to listen, those who care to ask for advice as to what they are going to do. Alam niyo kung ano yung nakakainis? They do not they do not want to listen. They are impressionable. Anong ibig kong sabihin? Ay, sinabi kasi ng kaibigan ko, basahin ko 'to, maganda 'to. Ay, sinabi ng kaibigan ko, maganda 'to. Alam niyo ba class, ako nung panahon na nagre-review ako for the bar, let's go to this portion of our ano, for bar techniques. Nung ako nagre-review for the bar, I had this one secret that my father did not know. I'm sorry, I do not mean to keep mentioning my father. It's just that this my experience during the review, eh, kaya naano ko siya. So, I never read his books during law school. I never read his books during law school. So what happened? Nung panahon na hindi ko binabasa yung libro niya, nung review na, ang tanong ko sa sarili ko, ano bang babasahin ko? Tama ba yung question na yan? Textbook or reviewer? Di ba meron tayong question na ganyan? Textbook or reviewer ang babasahin ko? Ay, magbabasa lang akong textbook. Ay, magbabasa akong reviewer. My answer, it depends. It depends. Why? Okay, let me explain. Let me tell you what books I read during the time that I was taking the bar exams. In Poly, I read the book of my father, and then kay Justice Isagani Cruz sa Public International Law. So yan yung binasa ko nun. Sa labor, ano yung binasa kong libro nun? Binasa ko yung libro ni Pokis, yung textbook. Ano pa? Civil. Binasa ko libro ng father ko. Tax. Binasa ko notes. Attorney Sababan. For those who do not know, Attorney Sababan, probably the greatest teacher in taxation. Problema, patay na. So teacher ko yan nun. Mani lang sa amin ng tax. Totoo lang. Sa totoo lang, mani sa amin ng tax. Mercantile law. Villanueva. Anong Villanueva? Yung Cesar. Yung makapal. Yung sobrang kapal. Di ba ganyan na siya ngayon? Sobrang kapal. Pero alam niyo, okay lang naman yan. Alam niyo bakit? Kasi di ba ito yung isang page nung kay Villanueva. Ang text niya, ganito lang ka, kumbaga, in short, you have so much room for marginal notes. Tapos, akala mo sobrang dami mong binabasa, pero sobrang kapal, pero ang iksi lang pala kasi yung pages, very, very well spaced yung kumbaga, maluwag yung spacing ng libro. I don't know if it's still available. Kasi, syempre, hindi man ako lecturer ng commercial kaya hindi ko alam to. Pero anyway, yun na nga. Mercantile law, ano pa ba? CRIM. I know it's still available today. Buwado. So buwado, binasa ko nung CRIM. remedial law, libro rin ng father ko. And finally, legal ethics, libro rin ng father ko. So yan ang binasa kong libro noon. Yan ang mga books na binasa ko nung panahon na nag-aaral ako. I only read one reference material. Pero I discriminated sometimes between textbooks and reviewers. When did I discriminate? If I know that it is a weak subject of mine. So anong ibig kong sabihin nito? My professor in labor law was somebody famous. I will not name anymore. But the fact is, I learned nothing from him. Okay, I learned nothing from him. That is why I read a textbook of Attorney Pokis. Why is this the case? Because you have to remember, if you have a weak subject, you need to go back to the basics. Kasi alam nyo, class, yung reviewers, the problem with them is that you are operating under the assumption that you are already well versed in the basics of the subject. So that is why if you are going to read a reviewer, ano ang problema? If you are not well versed in the basics, ang problema mo ay magkakaroon ka ng problema intindihin yung reviewer kung hindi ka pa magaling doon sa subject. I mean, hindi ko sinasabing expert level para na, pero yung bang halimbawa, kasi alam niyo ba, by the way, labor ang pinakamataas ko na subject sa bar examinations ko. 88 ako dyan sa labor. Yan ang pinakamataas ko. Textbook ang binasa ko. In all honesty, natuto lang ako sa labor nung bar exams na. So anong masasabi ko sa inyo? It's never too late. I call Pokis the Hector de Leon of labor. Yun ang tawag ko sa textbook niya. I mean, lecturer natin si Dean Pokis, di ba? Pero I never got to listen to him. So during the time that I was taking the bar, what I'm telling you is, ang ganda ng textbook niya. Very, 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 very organized ang thoughts niya. Very, very, very organized ang thoughts and very simple ang presentation. Those are two things that you need to be looking for in a book. At this point in your studies, you need to look for a book that talks to you. You need to look for a book that talks to you, that you can understand. Hindi pwede yung ipipilit niya sa'yo yung sinasabi niya, pero hindi mo naman siya maintindihan. Kailangan yung textbook mo, naiintindihan. So yun ang tandaan natin. Yung textbook, kaya yan ang binasa ko. Kasi mahina ako sa labor. Ano pa? Notes of Sababan. What can I say? Wala kasing updated na libro si Professor Sababan nung panahon na yun. Kaya yun ang binasa ko. Yung notes lang niya. Meron siyang libro noon na anong masasabi natin, medyo behind. Kumbaga, 3-4 years behind. Hindi masyadong updated ang presentation, hindi masyadong updated sa caudal, sa jurisprudence. Kaya ang binabasa lang namin notes. Kaya ang ibig kong sabihin dito, class, hindi kailangan na textbook lang or reviewer lang. Hindi kailangan gano'n. What I can tell you is, it's up to you kung ano yung gusto ninyong basahin. Pero what I can tell you is, or what I plead to you, what I request from you is that if you're going to pick a particular book, pick just one. Pick just one reference material. Huwag na kayong pumili ng pangalawang libro. Halimbawa, sa Poly, Albano, ano bang pwede kong idagdag dyan? Siguro yung Natura pwede ko idagdag. Ganun. Either or lang yan, class. Pili ka lang ng isa sa dalawa. Yun ang masasabi ko sa inyo. Yun ang request ko lang sa inyo. Yun ang request ko sa inyo. Pili lang kayo ng isa. Tapos, pinaka-importante, jurisprudence. What can I tell you? There are, of course, several instances whereby the book is either 1, 2, 3 years old. Let's say, yung let's say kay Buwado, I don't know kung kailan siya naglabas ng latest niya. Yung jurisprudence niyan, siyempre meron ng behind yan ng 1 to 3 years, di ba? Kung halimbawa, let's just assume, kumbaga, I'm not speaking of fact. Let's just assume that at the Fiscal Buwado's book is already 3 years old. So of course, because of this problem, you are 3 years behind in jurisprudence. So because you are 3 years behind in jurisprudence, you have to look for jurisprudence. That is why what? That is why one of the materials that we make sure to give to you are latest jurisprudence. Yan yung ano namin eh. Kaya nga ang materials natin sa review natin is yung latest jurisprudence. Kasi yan yung importante eh. So alam nyo class, at the end of the day, bar exams is just a battle of principles and concepts and being updated. What do we mean? Principles, concepts, and being updated. Nung time na nag-bar exams ako, 2006, may tinanong sa amin, which I lecture nowadays. The dragnet clause, 2006 bar examinations. What is the dragnet clause? Siyempre, alam na natin kung anong dragnet clause sa credit, di ba? It is an instance whereby yung nangungutang, sinabi niya dun sa nagpapautang sa kanya, lahat ng mga, yung utang, yung kung halimbawa magkakaroon ako ng pangalawang contract na may utang ako sa iyo, ano ang mangyayari? Yung properties na minortgage ko para sa iyo, doon sa unang contract natin ng mortgage, ano ang effect nun? Magiging mag-extend hanggang doon sa pangalawang utang na pinirmahan natin, in-execute natin sa isa't isa. Dragnet clause. Did we know that in 2006? We did not. So, bokya kami. The problem, class, alam niyo kung ano. When I was already post-mortem after the bar exams, my father asked me, na ano mo yung dragnet? Sabi ko, hindi ko nasagot yung dragnet. Alam mo ba kung ano yung dragnet? Tinanong niya ako, sabi ko, hindi. August 2006 ruling. So August 2006 ruling, ang daya ng bar chair, di ba? Ang daya ng bar chair, August 2006 ruling. Pero noong unang panahon yun, hindi na yun nangyayari ngayon. Bakit? Kasi namin nagreklamo eh. Pag halimbawa, lumampas sa coverage ang question mo, pitchforks at the Supreme Court. Hindi naman tayo mabot sa ganun, di ba? Pero ang point dito is nagrereklamo mga tao kapag halimbawa, lumalampas sa coverage. Kaya hindi nangyayari. Pero ang point natin dito, you have to be updated for you to be able to, at the minimum, have a fighting chance for the bar examinations. So yun ang ano natin, initial natin, di ba? So what can I say? These are my books. These are the reference materials that I read. The question here is, what are you going to choose? Kung ano yung mga, kumbaga, pick your weapon, so to speak. Kayo nang bahala. Pero just make sure that when you pick a book, it is a book that talks to you. It is a book that, kung halimbawa, nag-date kayo ng author, i-issue mo na lang babae yung libro kung lalaki ka, or lalaki yung libro kung babae ka. Kung mag-date kayo ng author, magkakadevelopan kayo. So yun ang isipin mo. Ha? Yun ang isipin natin pagdating sa pagpili ng libro. Naintindihan ko ba to? Oo, naintindihan ko. Mukhang magka-vibes kami. So kung magka-vibes kami, ibig sabihin, sige, magkakasundo kami. Naintindihan ko yung sinasabi. So yun ang importante sa libro. Now the question. Let me clear the drawings. Now the question. How am I supposed to read? How am I supposed to read? Let me demonstrate to you how I read during the time that I reviewed for the bar. For your information, I was able to get to 4 readings. Wow, ang bilis naman magbasa ni Attorney Albano. Sobrang bilis. 4 readings. Graduate kami May. Basically, pare-pareho lang tayo. Nag-bar kami September. Kumbaga, class, di ba ang usong kanta nun, Wake Me Up, kami nun pala, ang usong kanta ng bar namin, Wake Me Up When September Ends. So hanggang ngayon, yun pa rin ang ano di ba? Yun pa rin ang, yun ang uso na ngayon. Wake Me Up When September Ends. So yun ang ano ngayon sa inyo, bumalik na naman kayo sa Wake Me Up When September Ends. So anong ano namin? When you read, first of all, before we tackle how you are going to read, I want you to have a plan. What do I mean to say? Plan how you are going to read. Plan how the time that it is going to take for you to read. Why? Because unfortunately, class, the bar examinations is not about your readiness. Ano ibig sabihin? The Supreme Court does not ask you, oh, ready ka na ba mag-take ng exam? Natapos mo na ba lahat ng babasahin mo? Ay, hindi pa. Ah, sige. Next month, postpone natin ang bar. Kasi si Mr. A and si Miss B, hindi pa tapos magbasa. Hindi man ganun di ba? So, paano ba ang ano? So, you have to divide your time. As to reading, you have to divide your time. It is May already. So, just for emphasis, May, June, July, August, September. By September, you need to be reading 3 weeks. So what did I do? What did I do during the time of my review? I divided the subjects into 10 days. Ano ang ibig kong sabihin? Meron akong 10 days in total times 8. Pero syempre meron tayong legal ethics na mababasa mo in 4 days siguro, di ba? So I only required, I only needed 74 days of reading. So in short, ilan yan? That is 36, 2.5 months per reading. 2.5 months per reading. Yan lang ang kailangan ko, 2.5 months. So 2.5 months per reading. What does that leave me? It leaves me 1.5 months for the second reading. So ito yung first reading, and then second reading ko, 1.5 months or a 4-month period. Sabi mo, Attorney Albano, naka 4 readings ka. Bakit ka naka 4 readings? Kasi pagdating ko ng pre-week, that is my third reading. What else? Pagdating ko ng morning, ng exam, ano ang ginawa ko? 4th reading. Paano mo naman na-accomplish yun, sir? Parang imposible. Hindi imposible ito. I will tell you how. Okay, first reading. You have to read everything, di ba? First reading, you have to read everything. So, what can you say about your day? For example, as you go about your day, let's say papunta ka sa office, tapos may nakita kang mahaba na pila sa sakayan ng jeep. Tapos may nakita kang traffic. Ano pa? Nasa office ka na. Pagdating mo sa office, ano yung meron? Sinigawan ka ng boss mo or may inutos sa'yo yung boss mo na importante. Tapos nag-lunch ka. Typical. Let's say, baon mo, sinigang, kanin. Pagdating ng tanghali, after ng lunch, anong ginawa mo? Kumain ka ng ice cream. Yung yung mamang sorbetero sa labas, bumili ka ng isang sugar cone na ice cream, yung ₱20. Eh, pagbili mo ng sugar cone, ₱20, anong nangyari? Bumalik ka sa office, gumawa ka ulit ng trabaho mo, ginawa mo ulit yung trabaho mo. Paggawa mo ng trabaho mo, anong meron? Wala na. Tapos na yung utos sa'yo ng boss mo ng umaga, hindi mo naman kailangang i-submit yun today, umabot ka ng 5:00, wala ka ng ibang ginawa. Pag-uwi mo, sinigawan ka ng asawa mo. Kung halimbawa, may asawa ka, lalaki ka, sinigawan ka ng misis mo. Bakit? Nahuli ka ng 1 minuto. Okay? Nanchichicks ka na parang, teka lang, 1 minute lang naman ako na-late. Di ba? Hindi eh. Sasabihin mo, napanood kasi sa White Chicks ko ito naalala, yung movie na White Chicks. Sabi nung lalaki doon, how can I cheat for in 1 minute? Sabi niya gano'n, what's 1 minute? I'm not going to be able to cheat in 1 minute. Di ba? Sabi niya, anyway, what can you say about that? There are highlights. There are highlights in your day. Di ba? There are highlights in your day. Ano yung highlights? Matraffic ng umaga. Isa-isay natin. Matraffic ng umaga. Nakita ko. Ano pang highlights masabi natin doon? Utos ng boss. Nung nag-lunch ka, highlight ba yung sinigang o yung ice cream? Hindi, di ba? Ang highlight yung ice cream. Naman pakialam, sinigang. Araw-araw, nakakain ko yan, sinigang. Ano pa? Highlight ba yung wala kang ginawa the rest of the day? Hindi. Ano yung highlight? Sinigawan ako ng asawa ko. So syempre, sa lahat natin na nagbabasa tayo, may highlights talaga. Di ba kaya nga tayo, ang law students lang naman ang law students lang naman, ang tanging population ng mundo na nagpapayaman at nagre-retain, nagme-maintain ng business ng mga stabilo. Di ba? Tayo lang ang tayo lang ang allowing stabilo to keep themselves in the red. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Para hindi sila malugi. Nag-start na naman ang semester. Yes. Marami na namang law students nagagamit ng stabilo. Anong kulay? Andyan dilaw, andyan ang orange, andyan ang green, andyan ang purple. Diba? Lahat ng klaseng kulay meron tayo. Okay. Kaya stabilo, puro tayo stabilo, diba? What can I say to you about stabilo? Okay naman. You use your highlights as you can. You highlight whatever you can. In studying, what else? In reading your book, first reading pa lang to. In reading your book, first reading, ano pa? Highlights, and then marginal notes. Marginal notes. Ano pa? There is one thing that is for sure a polarizing topic. Note-taking. What is the problem that we have with taking down notes? What's the problem, you think? What do you think is the problem with taking down notes? The problem with taking down notes is that it is time-consuming. It is time-consuming. It takes up so much of your time that at some point, you slow down to a crawl in your studies. What is the problem? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, we only have 10 days. For me, if you're going to be able to achieve what I am telling you, you only have 10 days. Pero we are going to present an alternate scenario na 2 weeks ito, na 14 days instead of 10 days. Pero let's just present how I went about it. So, anong problema natin? You only have 10 days to be able to finish what you're going to read. So if you're going to have only 10 days, for me, you cannot afford note-taking. That is why you highlight your book, you get marginal notes, or you inscribe marginal notes in your books for the reason that this will be the replacement to notes. For me, yan ang gawin mo. Huwag ka na mag-note taking. Kasi alam mo, mauubos ang oras mo sa note taking. Unless what? Yung note taking, unless what? Unless, ang gagamitin mong notes, yung notes mo nung law student ka pa. If yung notes mo nung law student, pinag-uusapan natin dito, okay. Pero if you're going to create notes from scratch, what is the problem? Time. You are going to run out of time reading. So yes, you're going to run out of time reading. What is my counter to these notes? Kasi sasabihin mo sa akin, attorney, ang problema ko kasi sa notes, I remember what's important with the notes. Now, this is where the first reading importance for me comes into effect. The asterisk. For me, the asterisk is the way I remember important concepts. I place asterisks on the highlights or the important concepts in the book that I need to be able to remember. So if there is an important concept, if there's an important thing that I need to remember, what do I do? Asterisk, 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 asterisk. So when I'm reading my book for the first time, what will I do? I highlight, I get marginal notes, I put marginal notes, and then I place asterisk on the important concepts that I feel are important. Anong ibig sabihin nito? At this point, you have to be able to forecast for yourselves what you think is important. As I mentioned, alam naman natin sa utak natin kung ano ang importante, di ba? Nakikita naman natin yan eh. Ano ba ang importante? Ano ba ang tingin ko na makaka-benefit sa akin? Ano yung naaalala ko na importante? This is how you do it. You place asterisk. This is the exchange. This is the replacement for your notes. So yun ang isang gagawin ninyo. Place asterisk in your book. So buburahin ko na to. So let's say ganito. Let's say this is the page in my book. Let's say this is the text. Yeah. So this is the page in my book and this is the
Hindi
text.
naman hindi naman kababaan, no? Hindi po ganyan.
What do you do? If you're reading like me, what will you do? Ako, lalagyan ko ng isang asterisk. Yeah. Let's say dito sa page na to, ito ang importante. I will place asterisk on the important concepts. So this is my first reading. So in the course of my review, anong ginawa ko? I implemented this system, asterisk, asterisk ko. Ano yung tingin ko importante? Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Now, yan ang first reading natin. Second reading. What did I do? So imagine ninyo to Natapos ako ng first reading. Kailan? Nung panahon na September pang bar, natapos ako ng first reading by July. Ano nga ba ang order ko? Ang order ng aking reading nung panahon na yun, na July, na nagsimula ako ng May. Nung nagsimula ako ng May, ang order ko, any. What do I mean by any? Ibig sabihin, kung anong feel ko na basahin ngayon, yun muna ang babasahin ko. So this begs the question, attorney, nagsasawa na ako sa binabasa ko. Remedial law lang ng remedial law. Political law lang ng political law. Gusto ko magbasa ng ibang topic. What can I tell you? Bahala ka. Kung ano yung gusto mo, kung nananawa ka ng basahin yung isang subject, okay lang. What is the most important thing? It not keep pay attention to the time. Ano ibig kong sabihin? For so long as you will be able to finish what you are reading in 74 days, as I mentioned to you, okay lang. Magpalit-palit ka. Kasi talagang babagal eh. Kung mananawa ka, babagal eh. Ako kasi nun, hindi ako nanawa sa isang subject eh. Para akong ano eh, yung one task wonder ba? Hanggang hindi ko natatapos yung isang bagay na ginagawa ko, hindi ko kayang maka-move on sa ibang babasahin. So halimbawa, ang binasa ko is commercial law. Hanggang hindi ako natapos sa commercial law, hindi ko kayang. Pero kung ikaw, sawa ka na dun sa commercial law, binabasa mo commercial law, tapos gusto mong magbasa naman ng legal ethics, go ahead. Just take note of the time. So as to time, ano ang masasabi ko sa inyo? As to the time, if you are a full-time student, you have the benefit of waking up, reviewing for the bar until you are tired. Waking up, reviewing for the bar until you are tired. Ano ang masasabi ko sa inyo? Ang routine ko, nung panahon na nagre-review ako for the bar, I wake up by 7 a.m. Kasi full-time student ako eh. I wake up by 7 a.m. Do I believe that I should wake up at 4 a.m.? Why? Kasi fresh pa sa utak ko yung binabasa ko. I do not believe that, class. I do not believe that. I believe in sleeping until I wake up. I do not believe in forcing myself to wake up. Nung law student nga ako, sa dinami-dami ng cases na inassign na isang professor, pag umabot ako ng alas 11, wala na, sarado ng tindahan. So ano nangyayari? Lalo na nung nagre-review ako, until I tire. Ano yung panahon usually when I tire? I tire by 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. So 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. pagod na ako. That is how you read. That's how you read. Simply put, is it worth it to become a lawyer? Yes. That is why you need to devote all of your waking time to becoming a lawyer. You need to devote all of your waking time to becoming a lawyer, because once you get to this goal of having this period in the front of your name, you need not worry too much anymore. Siyempre, kailangan diskartehan mo ang buhay mo, pero you have the appropriate tools na. So, if you are really devoted, go ahead, study, wake up, prepare, and then until you tire. So I do not say, magbasa ka ng ganito, magbasa ka ng ganyan. You study until you are tired. I do not impose a period. Wake up at 4, sleep at 9. Yan ang point nun. Matutulog ka din naman ng 9 kung gigising ka ng 4. Tapos antok ka lang din, di ba? So kung ako sa inyo, gumising ka kapag kaya mo na. Paggising ka na, tapos pagising mo, aral ka hanggang wala na, hanggang lugaw na yung utak mo. Di ba? Ganun lang yun. Yun ang strategy ko pagdating sa pag-aaral. In between, class. Ano ang masasabi ko sa inyo? In between. Pwede ba akong manood ng sine? Attorney, kakalabas lang ni Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, di ba? Pwede ba akong manood ng sine? Yes. Pwede ba ako mag-basketball, attorney, kung lalaki ka? Yes. Kasi kailangan natin ng exercise. Kailangan din natin ng relaxation. Kailangan natin ng exercise. Hindi pwede na wala kang balance even while you are reviewing. Kailangan mo ng physical activity and kailangan mo ng relaxation. Hindi pwede na ikaw ay mag-aaral lang hanggang ng buong buo. You need to be able to reward yourself every now and then. In the same way, na kapag nagpapapayat ka, ano ang sinasabi ng mga dietitians? You need to have a what? You need to have a cheat day. This is your cheat day. Gusto ko manood ng sine, manood ka ng sine. Kung gusto mo mag-basketball, maglaro ka ng basketball. Ganun yun. Physical activity, so kailangan mong well-rounded ang iyong sarili. So yun ang ano natin. First reading, di ba? Second reading na nga tayo, dinidiscuss natin, attorney, di ba? So, how do you go about your second reading? So, second reading now. Ano ang ginagawa ko? Tandaan ninyo, meron akong binasang asterisks, di ba? Gawin natin 3. So, after my first reading, ano na lang ang babasahin ko pagdating sa second reading? Ang babasahin ko na lang pagdating sa second reading ay yung may asterisk. So, itong portion na to, itong portion na to, itong portion na to. So, ano ang hindi ko babasahin? Hindi ko na babasahin ito. Hindi ko na babasahin ito. What will happen? You will save time. Kaya nga ako mas mabilis yung basa ko ng second reading kasi ang binabasa ko, ito lang. Itong portions na to, itong portions na to, itong portions na to. Yung mga asterisk lang, yun lang ang binabasa ko. So, I'm able to save time by only reading what is essential, what is important to my mind. What else do I do? What else did I do when I was reading a second time? Kasi di ba meron ka pang third reading at saka may fourth reading ka pa. What else did I do? When I was reading a second time, what did I do? I did the following. Let's say sa 3 area na to, ito yung mas importante dito. And ito, same. Yung una, tsaka pangalawa na binilugan ko, let's say, yun ang tingin ko na important points. So ano ang nangyari? Ginawa ko, sa second reading ko, I highlighted further. I highlighted further. Anong ibig kong sabihin? When I was reading a second time, I asked myself, what is more important than the others? And do I think that this is a question that will probably come out in the bar examinations? Yun ang inano ko, yun ang inisip ko, yun ang thought process ko. Well, there is no guidance when I was reading this way. There is no guidance. I was just reading, I was just allowing the thoughts to flow as they came on. So, nagbilog ako nung may asterisk. So, ano ang nangyari? Pagbilog ko ng second asterisk, basa lang, basa. Second reading, second reading. Do you know when I finished my second reading? Di ba, May to, ano tayo? Di ba, May to, ano tayo? May to September. Do you know what happened when I was reading do you know what was the time that I finished my second reading? I finished my second reading, di ba, May to September. I finished my second reading in August. I finished my second reading in August. Excuse lang saglit. Just 1 second. Saglit lang class nawala ng connection kasi yung yung whiteboard. Teka lang, i-coconnect ko lang ulit. So apologies for that, naputol yung connection lang sa Wi-Fi. Saglit lang din. Okay. So what now? Ano na nga ba yung pinag-uusapan natin? So natapos ako ng August, di ba? Sabi ko sa inyo. Tapos ako ng August sa aking second reading. So nung natapos ako ng August sa second reading, alam niyo kung ano yung question ko sa sarili ko? Ang question ko sa sarili ko is whether or not there is a need to memorize. Kasi di ba class, ano natin yan eh. That is a common question. Kailangan ko pa nga bang Kailangan ko pa nga bang mag-memorize para para magkaroon ako ng better confidence, so to speak, pagdating sa bar. Once again, another polarizing question. Whether or not you need to memorize. What can I say? Ganito class. In all honesty, I did not memorize. Why did I not memorize? Because when I tried to memorize in August, siguro mga 2 weeks yun. 2 weeks, when I was reviewing, I devoted 2 weeks kasi sabi ko sa sarili ko, may bakante ako in between, natapos ko na yung second reading ko. May bakante ako in between, pwede ako mag-memorize. So sabi ko, okay, 2 weeks. Sinubukan ko mag-memorize ng 1 day. Sinubukan ko mag-memorize ng 2 days. Sinubukan ko mag-memorize ng 3 days. Alam niyo kung ano yung takeaway ko sa memorization? It's pointless. What do I mean to say? How do you memorize? Memorize, okay. Let's say, ano bang concept? Kagaya ng halimbawa, yung dragnet clause. Yung dragnet clause, when I explained it to you earlier, ano ang masasabi ninyo dun sa explanation? Was it an explanation of someone who understood the dragnet clause, or was it the explanation of someone who memorized the dragnet clause? Di ba, it is the explanation of someone who understood the dragnet clause. So what does that mean? It means for me that it is more important for you to understand a concept rather than to memorize a concept. Because who are we actually kidding? When we memorize, what do? Let's say, ito yung page ng libro. Okay, page ng libro. Let's say ito, page ng libro. Dragnet clause. Okay, dragnet clause. What is dragnet clause? Okay, dragnet clause. Tatakpan ko yung page. Dragnet clause, according to my memory 3 seconds ago, is blah, blah, blah. August yun. August ako nag-memorize. Pagdating ba ng September 17, pagdating ba ng September 20, pagdating ba ng September 24, will I still be able to remember what I memorized in August? No. The answer is no. I won't be able to remember what I memorized in August. So for me, it is an absolutely pointless exercise to memorize. For me, you are better off understanding concepts rather than memorizing them. So you better understand. You're as I mentioned, you are better off understanding a concept than memorizing. So yun ang advice ko sa inyo. Do not try. Do not attempt to memorize anymore. Kasi kapag sinubukan mo mag-memorize, ano man nangyayari? Nawawala lang yan, nalulusaw lang sa hangin yan. Yung inaaral mo na yan, yung sinusubukan mo na memorize na yan, na concepts na yan. So, if I were you, kasi sabi ko nga sa inyo, I have no monopoly of knowledge of right and wrong. So, if you want to memorize, go ahead. I'm not stopping you. Pero my advice to you, friendly, is that you do not need to memorize. Just read, understand, read and understand, read and understand. In reading, what is another thing that you have to do while reading? While reading, what do you have to do? Always remember that while you are reading, it is important for you to what? For you to ask the question why. This is a truism for me. Law student pa lang ako. Ask the question why. Always ask the question why. Real party in interest. Kasi yun, yung mga concepts na naalala ko, diba? Na I mentioned to you. Why is it na ang mga mammals na can be found in the Tanyan Strait need not file suit anymore? Because it would be impractical, number one, for a whale to affix their signature in the verification part of the pleading. And number two, because of the case of Factoran, ano ang sabi? Sabi ng Supreme Court, it is the responsibility of this generation of humans to take care of the ecosystem. So yun ang sagot sa why. So my point here to you is, while you are studying, you always be curious. Live curious. Sabi nga ng National Geographic, live curious. Yun yung tandaan natin. Live curious while you are reading. Hindi pwedeng para ka lang nagbabasa ng comics, di ba? Parang ako nun, it will show my age, si Nick Nock. Hindi ko alam, syempre maraming hindi kilala si Nick Nock. Si Nick Nock, nung bata pa ako na binabasa ko, nung pag nagbabakasyon ako sa probinsya, wala lang, basang comics kasi wala kang magawa sa probinsya. Di ba, alam niyo naman, kapag summer, sa pilitan, dadaling ka ng magulang mo sa probinsya, magstay kayo doon ng 2-3 weeks, ikaw anong gagawin mo? Babasa ka ng comics. Yung tinatawag na basang comics, yun yung basa na wala lang, parang i-entertain mo lang yung sarili mo. Half the time or even 3/4 of the time, you do not know what's happening while you're reading the comics. You're just reading illustrations. You do not understand what's happening. So hindi pwedeng ganun. Pag nagbabasa ka na yung bar exams, you always have to ask the question why when you are reading. Kasi hindi pwedeng, nabasa ko na lahat. Were you able to understand? If the answer is no, that's not enough. So you have to be curious. You have to be inquisitive while you are studying. So it cannot be that you are just going to read like you are reading comics. Kagaya halimbawa ako, may binabasa akong novel, Agatha Christie. I'm at the middle already. Yung binabasa ko isang novel, kita niyo hindi ko na naalala. Kumbaga, ang point ko ganito. Gusto kong simulan ng umpisa kasi ang sabi, that's the most relevant Agatha Christie novel. So, I'm halfway already, and I do not, kumbaga, I have a passing recollection kung ano yung nangyari sa umpisa, pero sa middle ng book, hindi ko na maalala. So I want to be able to understand what I'm reading because it is apparently one of the greatest novels that I can ever read. So I want to start from the beginning. Ang point ko sa inyo, you have to think that way. Hindi pwedeng may papalagpasin ako na point dito sa binabasa ko. Kailangan, habang nagbabasa ako, naiintindihan ko yung binabasa ko. So yun ang ano ninyo, yun ang way to read. That is why, as I mentioned to you, you use marginal notes, di ba? You have to use marginal notes while you are reading because that will aid you to be able to understand what you are reading. So that is the use of marginal notes. So di ba this is second reading, as we mentioned. So taking you to my journey through the bar examinations. August na yan, di ba? It's August already and I'm in my second reading. What now? Mapak na tayo ng September. Pag-apak mo ng September, ano ang babasahin mo? Ay, attorney, ang babasahin ko yung handouts na binigay sa akin ng kaklase ko. Yung binigay sa akin ng school. Ano pa? Yung mga other notes, assorted na meron. What can you say about that? Let me give you a story. For all those who know who my father was called the Nostradamus of the bar examinations. My father was known as the Nostradamus of the bar examinations simply because he could predict questions in political law, remedial law, and civil law very, very accurately. Kaya nga Nostradamus ang tawag sa kanya. You have to imagine, class, how I was during law school. You have to imagine how I was during law school. Anong ibig kong sabihin? Everybody was after the notes of my father during the time when he was alive. Why? Because you're talking about the notes coming from Nostradamus of the bar examinations, di ba? What happened? Come time of the pre-week, September, burahin natin itong ibang sinulat ko dito. When the pre-week rolled around, what happened, class? Nung dumating na ang pre-week, si Nostradamus, binigyan ako ng notes. Binigyan ako ng notes ng tatay ko. Binigyan ako ng notes ni Nostradamus. Ay, ito yung forecast ko na lalabas ng bar. Alam niyo kung anong ginawa ko sa notes? Hindi ko binasa. Yabang mo naman, Atty. Albano. Hindi mo binasa ang notes ng tatay mo, samantalang habol na habol ng lahat ng mga law students yan. Sa maniwala kayo at sa hindi ko binasa yung notes na yan. Alam niyo kung bakit? Kasi sa dami ng binasa ko, doon sa libro na binasa ko, sa jurisprudence na binasa ko, sa other notes na binasa ko, paulit-ulit, ang plano ko, paulit-ulit ko lang babasahin yung mga binabasa ko. Bakit? Para I can recall. Kaya paulit-ulit, kasi para maalala ko yung binasa ko. Para maalala ko yung binasa ko. Kasi alam nyo, class, kapag tayo nagbabasa, ano yung naaalala natin? Yung binabasa natin ng paulit-ulit. Pag halimbawa, nagbasa ka ng dyaryo, nagbasa ka ng dyaryo intently. Although ako may mga kakilala ako na magaling talaga. As in may kabatch ako nun sa school. Babasahin niya isang beses. Ang galing, photographic memory. kuha agad. Pero anyway, basa ka ng dyaryo. What do you actually remember when you read, during the time that you read? First time ng dyaryo. Ano ang naalala mo? Details, di ba? Sorry. Mga ano lang, mga halimbawa, lumindol kahapon, mainit kahapon, 38 degrees, etc. Lumindol, 5.6. Yun lang naalala mo, di ba? Hindi mo naman naalala yung sinabi ng Pag-asa na because gumalaw yung tectonic plates, sa Surigao, etc. Kaya hindi mo naalala yan. Bakit? Kasi first reading mo lang. Hindi mo naman inaano yung details, hindi mo tinitake advantage, you do not pay attention to the details. So ano nangyari? Kung basahin mo ulit yung libro, yung dyaryo, let's say, sinabi sa'yo ng ano mo, ng boss mo, sabihin natin ng boss mo, politiko. And let's say, mainit si politiko ngayon. Let's say, senator ang boss mo. So si senator, gusto niya lahat ng newspaper clippings na nandun yung pangalan niya, nasa desk niya or nasa media. So anong gagawin mo ngayon? Ay, teka lang, babasahin ko. Kasi tatanungin sa akin ng boss ko kung ano yung meron sa write-up tungkol kay senator. So babasahin ko ngayon, babasahin ko ngayon. Okay. Ano yung mas maaalala mo? Yung nabasa mo ng isang beses o yung nabasa mo ng second time, ng twice? Siyempre, hindi naman yung maalala mo ng one time. Maalala mo ng second time. So may recall ka na, in short. May recall ka dahil twice mo binasa. Dahil twice mo binasa. Paulit-ulit, twice mo binasa. What will happen now, class? If kung halimbawa, during pre-week, may bagong notes na dumating, may bagong notes na lumabas. Hindi ba bago itong bagay na to? Hindi ba bago yung babasahin mo? Kung bago yung babasahin mo, ano ang epekto nito? Kung bago yung babasahin mo, magkakaroon tayo ng problema dito. Bakit? Kasi kapag bago yung babasahin mo, your mind will undergo another stage of trying to recall what it read. So, in order to be able to recall what you read, ano ang kailangan mo? You have to read it once, twice, once, twice, 3 times a lady. Di ba ganun yung kanta? Kailangan mo ulit basahin ng 3 beses, 2 beses. Kasi sa isang beses, hindi mo naman maaalala yun. Yung notes na yun, di ba? Hindi mo naman maaalala yun. Kaya ako, hindi ko binasa, hindi ko pinansin. Maniwala kayo sa akin, hindi ko pinansin yung notes ng tatay ko. Yung mga kaklase ko, gusto nila. Alam niyo ba ang ginawa ko? Sige, Xerox mo. Walang problema. Nabasa mo na to? Oo, nabasa ko na yun. Xerox nila. Ako, hindi ko binasa. I just stuck to my guns. Sa totoo lang, I stuck to my guns. I stuck to what I did. Yun ang ginawa ko. So yun ang ano ko. Yun ang ano ko sa inyo. Sabi ko sa inyo, I have no monopoly of knowledge. I have no monopoly of right and wrong. I just want you to be able to, what? I just want you to be able to see it from our perspective. Kung ano yung ginagawa ng lahat na mga, ng lahat, kami. Kung ano yung ginawa namin in order to get here. Kasi totoo naman eh. Let's say, sabihin natin, sino ba mga lecturer ngayon? Let's say si Bronjal, sa remedial law. Let's say sabi ni Bronjal, ay, definitely affirmative defenses lalabas ngayon. Okay. Affirmative defenses, alam naman natin kung ano yung affirmative defenses, di ba? Alam naman natin kung ano effect ng affirmative defenses vis-a-vis a motion to dismiss, di ba? If it is not a ground of lack of jurisdiction, res judicata, prescription, what's the effect? The effect is you have to allege it as an affirmative defense in your answer. And once you allege it as an affirmative defense in your answer, then the court will hear the affirmative defense. And as an affirmative defense, ano mangyayari? Court will decide whether to dismiss the case on the ground that you alleged an affirmative defense. Pero it's not equivalent to a motion to dismiss. That's the point. You know the principle already. So you need not read it in another set of notes. Siguro, kung may makuha ka na notes, scan mo. Ano yung tingin niyang importante? Pwede kong tingnan Pwede kong i-compare sa notes ko, okay, compare ko. Pero for you to say that after reading my textbook, after reading my case updates, after reading my other notes, I am going to abandon this because there is something new that came along. That is foolishness. That is foolishness for me. Because you are already on the track to becoming a lawyer and then para bang lamesen, parang biglang reset mo yung ginagawa. So yun ang ano kasi. Kung may dadating na bago, para lang yan, sometimes the grass on the other side is not always greener. So yun ang tanda natin. Ha? So yun yan. So that's the journey, di ba? So September na tayo. As I mentioned to you, we will have other meetings on bar techniques. I'm looking at my calendar and we will just inform you kung kailan yung, we'll just email you kung kailan yung next meeting natin sa bar techniques. So sa preparation pa lang tayo reading. So ano ang ano natin? Pagdating ngayon ng, kasi di ba sabi ko sa inyo, naka 4 readings ako. Ano na yung sinabi ko? First, second, now nasa third reading na tayo. Third reading. By the way, konting correction. Sorry, konting correction. Ang ginawa ko nga pala, hindi ko pa binilugan. Nung second reading ko, 2 asterisks. Okay, 2 asterisks yung ginawa ko. Imbis na bilog. Kasi ang nasa isip ko, pagdating ko ng third reading, di ba pre-week na to ngayon? So remember, meron tayong mga 1 asterisk dito. Binasa ko pa ba yan, yung 1 asterisk na yan? Hindi na. Pagdating ng pre-week. Pagdating ng pre-week, ano yung third reading ko? Yung third reading ko, eto na. Itong 2 asterisk na to, eto na yung burahin natin yung ano, para to emphasize importance. Pagdating ng third reading, ang ginawa ko ngayon, binasa ko yung 2 asterisk na lang. So what happens? Para mas mabilis kong mabasa yung libro, mabilis kong matapos kasi marirecall ka lang, recalling ka na lang, bullet points na lang ito at this point eh. Lalo na ngayong bar exam ninyo. 3 days in total, di ba? So lalo na itong bar exam ninyo, although first week poly, first week poly, morning subject poly, afternoon subject mercantile and taxation, di ba? So in essence, how many days do you have for each subject? You have at the most 3 days. Minimum 2.5. Maximum 3 days. Kung kaya mo pang magbasa ng Sabado, ha? Kung kaya mo pang magbasa ng Sabado. So anyway, anong ginawa ko during pre-week? During pre-week, yung 2 asterisk na lang, once again, yung binasa ko. So what happened? Pagdating ng pre-week, yung 2 asterisk na yun, binilugan ko. Ito na pala yung bilog. Binilugan ko na yung 2 asterisk. Bakit? Kasi ito na ngayon yung babasahin ko sa 4th reading ko. So ito na yung babasahin ko sa 4th reading ko. Anong ibig kong sabihin ito? Sa 4th reading ko, ang babasahin ko, yung may bilog na lang. Ito yung tingin ko pinakapurong point ng law. Ito yung pinakapuro na point dito sa ano ko. So kailan ko binabasa to pag 4th reading? Pagsamahin na natin discussion. Kailan ko binabasa yung 4th reading? Yung 4th reading, as I mentioned, before the morning subject and before the afternoon subject. So yan yung, that's the way I read. 4th reading, kumbaga highlights na lang yan eh. Kaya nga nung panahon ng bar exams ko, dala-dala ko pa yung textbook sa loob. Dala-dala ko yung textbook sa loob ng examination area. Kasi yan yung binabasa ko. 4th reading. So, yung 2 asterisk na lang, bibilugan ko, Yan ang pang fourth reading ko. So that's the way I studied during the time of the bar. So was it effective for me? As I mentioned to you, I just took the bar exams just once. So for me, this is how you should prepare. For me lang kumbaga sabi ko sa'yo, no monopoly. No monopoly of knowledge, no monopoly of right or wrong. This is how I prepared. I hope that you, kumbaga, nakuha ninyo kung paano. So, kung halimbawa working ka, paano ang gagawin natin? Halimbawa working. Nag-working pa ako, attorney, kasi talagang hindi kaya na mag-leave. Okay lang. Paano ang gagawin mo? First reading. Let's say during the time that you are reviewing for the bar, yun na lang kaya mo. One reading lang talaga. So one reading spaced in 4 months, 2 weeks, 2 weeks per subject. So 4 months, 2 weeks per subject. Anong gagawin mo? One reading ka na lang during regular review. So one reading during regular review. So with your one reading during regular review, what will you do? So one reading, and then mag-asterisk ka, di ba? You highlight, you asterisk, and then during your first reading, ano ang gagawin mo? You have to highlight the important points. You have to highlight the important points that are more important than the other. Anong ibig kong sabihin? Let's say, may asterisk ka. Isipin mo sa sarili mo, ano yung pinaka-importante? If there are 3 parts of the page where I have 1 asterisk, what am I going to do? While you are reading the first time, you have to analyze already. Ano kaya ang tingin ko ito yung mga importante talaga. So, when you are reading, while you are working, ano ang kailangan mong gawin? You have to be extra cautious. What do I mean by extra cautious? Kailangan, pagbasa mo ng once lang, naiintindihan mo na yung concept agad. Kailangan naiintindihan mo na agad yung concept. Siyempre, di ba, madaling sabihin. Pero, ang point dito is, kung hindi mo maintindihan once, basahin mo pa ulit-ulit, hanggang umabot sa utak mo, hanggang manood sa utak mo kung ano yung point na kailangan mong maintindihan. So, yun ang masabi ko sa inyo. So, kung halimbawa, nagkaroon tayo ng pagdating natin ng pre-read, anong gagawin natin? Encircle already. Ganun lang din. You encircle already para yun yung babasahin mo on the morning. Kasi maniwala kayo sa akin, importante morning ng bar examinations. Importante yan. Meron ka pa rin mapupulot dyan kasi sa dami-dami ng binasa mo, talagang pa rin. Kailangan mo pa rin yan. Kumbaga, you will still get to a point in your readings that you need to be able to recall most of them. So, the purpose why ganito na kailangan mo siyang basahin is just to recall, as I said to you. Recall. Kasi kailangan paulit-ulit para maalala mo, para maisagot mo during the bar exams. So always remember, pagdating ng bar exams, yung mga binasa mo, not pagdating ng bar exams, during pre-week, you will encounter naturally a feeling of insecurity. What do I mean to say? You will encounter a feeling of insecurity. You will say to yourself, parang wala akong alam. Bakit ganun? Bakit naabot ka sa point na sasabihin mo sa sarili mo, parang wala akong alam? Kasi you have to remember, when you are reading, sobrang dami ng information na pumapasok sa utak mo na you will have difficulty remembering this information all coming into your brain at once. But what I will assure you is that for so long as you are able to comprehend what you are reading, kaya nga ang emphasis natin, comprehension and focus sa pagbabasa. As long as you're able to comprehend what you are reading, believe me, at the time when you need it most, it will come out. So dadating yan. Magtiwala kayo, dadating. Yun. So yun lang. Yun ang masasabi natin pagdating sa, kumbaga, at this point in our review, that's the initial part that I want to impart to you. So siguro we'll have kumbaga yung yung next na session natin will be will be yung pagsagot natin sa bar examinations. Anyway, I have already instructed my staff to send to you my handout that I have prepared, how to answer bar examination questions. So another thing that you have to remember, class, you have to pwede nyo tingnan yung kay Leonin. Alam niyo yung kay Justice Leonin, di ba? Yung bar matter na nilabas niya noon, how to answer bar examination questions. Kasi it's still relevant up till now. Kasi ganun-ganun lang talaga ang tinuturo natin. Pero yung next na session natin, I will teach you how to answer bar examination questions. And it's important for you to be able to differentiate yung sa criminal law versus all other subjects. Kasi sa totoo lang, there is a confusion as to how you are supposed to answer criminal. And by the way, itong tuturo ko sa inyo next time around, mataas din ako dito. Okay? So, hindi ako fiscal, pero yung criminal law ko, 86 naman ang grade ko. So, kaya confident ako na tama yung tinuturo ko sa inyo as to how I answer bar question, how I answered the bar questions in criminal law, and how I answered bar questions in every other. So yun lang. So once again, what I can tell you is that we will strive our best to be able to share to you everything that we could share. As to how we approach things dito sa review center sa ABRC, simple lang. It used to be that when everything was face to face, we emphasized on being able to tackle subject in one approach. Kasi sabihin natin, nung panahon before, let's say, halimbawa, political law. Si Edwin Sandoval, political law yung lecture niya for a session. Tapos after nun, si daddy ko, si Dean Albano, will tackle constitutional law, and then somebody will tackle international law. Kumbaga ganun lang nun sa Pero ngayon, how we do things is we have someone give an overview of the subject matter, and then several other lecturers will give a lecture on piecemeal. So 2 approaches, in short, as to the subject matter, para for you to have maximum comprehension pagdating sa it. Okay, so yun lang. I hope that you're able to appreciate yung ating first session for this part of the review on bar techniques. Once again, we will have another session on answering the bar examination questions next time around. Let's try siguro yung June 12, yung holiday, di ba? Kasi wala tayong schedule nung June 12 na holiday. So siguro let's devote half day answer as to how to answer bar examination questions. So yun lang. I will leave you for now. We will begin our review with Judge Tambasakan. Aquino Tambasakan din or Tambasakan? Aquino Tambasakan. Okay, so yun lang. I hope that you will all be able to have a pleasurable and memorable time to review. And I hope to all see you as lawyers by December. Diba? Sabi ni Justice Hernando, by December, abogado na kayo. I'm confident na medyo mataas ang magiging passing percentage ni Justice Hernando kasi medyo medyo yung siniset na consecutively mataas yung passing, di ba? Alam niyo ba kay Justice Kagiwa nun, ang chismis 20%, 18%, biglang 43, di ba? So, kumbaga, Justice Hernando, from the time that I was able to listen to him in the South Convention one time, mukhang mabait naman. So I hope that we will have a good passing percentage for all of you. So yun lang. Please stand by 5 o'clock. We'll begin lecture in commercial. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.